We start on Willie Rioli, but he's definitely in the 18. And is it a little bit of a punt, or how's his fitness?
No, his fitness is good. Yeah, he was almost available last week. So no, it's not a punt at all. He's missed probably a top up in JLT2. He got injured at the end of the first quarter, so we had to get that in last week. So he hit all the numbers really well, and his pre-season form with training and a couple of little snippets of gameplay that he did have. He played that practice match against Freo at Lathlane and played a full game. So had a minor hiccup with his knee at the end of AFLX. So he got some good minutes in, really good intensities, AFL-like intensities. So he's ready to play.
What role do you see him playing, Simo?
Well, he'll play in the front half. It's funny actually. We were just talking about then how different that front half looks with Ryan and Venables and Rioli and Waterman. Not a heap of experience there, but it's exciting.
We play all four of them?
Yeah. Yep.
So when you go in, is this a nervy moment before when you play that?
Oh, I think it's exciting. Yeah, I think we're gone past the nervous part and embrace the transition we're in. Those guys all held up their own last week at certain stages, and they're going to get better with games. So they're going to have ups and downs. We're okay with that. We're not going to give games away, but there's definitely opportunities there for growth. And it just turns out that we want to get better in the midfield, obviously, but the exposure we're giving these young forwards is really exciting for the club.
Simo, it's been a short journey so far for Willie since he's arrived at the club. But what have you seen in Willie? I mean, obviously he's lost a lot of weight. He's had that natural skill, but what have you sort of seen the transition so far since he's been here?
Well, he's always had AFL qualities, and it feels like a short journey, but he missed 10 to 12 weeks last year with a hamstring injury. So battling to keep fit and get fit's been a bit of a struggle when you have injuries like that. So he's a bit more mature age than most recruits. He's 21, 22 years old. He's got a long-time partner and a child, so he's a man, and he's been all over the country playing football. So I don't see him as raw as a 17-year-old who's moved out of home. So yeah, his journey's been short in the AFL, but it's been quite a long one in terms of getting where he is today.
He's got a famous surname, and obviously you were there at Hawthorn to watch Cyril. Do you see anything similar between the two at all?
Well, he's a Rioli. I had the fortunate privilege to go up and spend a bit of time with Willie and his family, and there's plenty of Riolis up in the Tiwi, and they've all got similar attributes in terms of their football sense, but they're also very similar in the way they treat their family and how highly they're held in the community. He's a leader amongst his Indigenous culture, which is really pleasing for him, and I see that with Cyril as well. Do
you think it can be an advantage, the fact you are a bit unpredictable up forward now?
That's hot here. Look, no, we see it as exciting. We're looking at it. It's not a strategic plan to play all first gamers in the front half. It's just the way it's developed, and we've been working really hard to try and get some young players into the side. Whilst they're doing that, they've got to earn their spot as well. So no, we see it as just an exciting opportunity.
Has it made it a bit almost like not sleepless nights, but in the middle of the night you wake up and go, oh man, I'm going to have to push McGovern forward, or I'm going to have to leave him full forward, or just because of how inexperienced it is?
It's not sleepless at all. No, not at all. In fact, it's the opposite. So what will be will be. We've got to coach around the youth, but the Bulldogs are young too. But for us, we're probably the youngest side we've played since I've been here. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but we've probably got four guys. We definitely got four guys with one or less games experience, but that's fine.
Just one, sorry, Craig. Just one more on Rioli. What's his demeanour like? Will you have to sort of manage him in the lead up to the game in terms of he might get overcooked, or is he pretty sort of mellow? He's pretty
confident. Yeah, he's got plenty of self-belief. A lot of the guys haven't played in Melbourne. Or Eddie had, so that's all part of the prep, I suppose. Not too much apple pie after dinner tonight and all those things, and your sleep and the time difference, all that stuff. So you got to learn that. So you got to do it at some stage.
The young guys have all got a lot of tricks with the way they play. Like Ryan can take his mark of the year and Billy's pace everywhere. So do you put restrictions on, or you say just go out there and do what comes naturally? And
you got to play to your strengths when you're first starting out. In fact, your whole career, it's things you need to work on. But we drafted him for a reason. So one thing we do want in our front half is pressure. So we want them to bring pressure and some physicality, and they've all got that ability. So, and they've all got speed, which helps.
Simo, it's only round 2, but it's a tough game, isn't it? You know, the Dogs are going to want to come out and retaliate after last week, but you then have Geelong here next week. I know you're not looking at that at the moment, but it is a big game, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yeah, last week was a big game as well. So, you know, it just feels like the AFL industry every week now has become a big game. There's no easy beats. There's no one who's, you know, you're penciling at the start of the year that you might be able to get a good victory, and you know, it's one of those seasons already. So, well, we embrace that. You know, that's it's part of our growth is to embrace every challenge, and you know how we're going to travel and play as a team interstate is going to be tested on Sunday.
What do you think they'll do with their rucks? Because last week they seemed to almost have 3 ruckmen.
I don't know. That's up to Bevo. We'll see what the team comes through, and we'll plan for every different angle that he might throw at us. Because you know, traditionally they've been unconventional, but yeah, we haven't had Nick and Scott together for a long time, and we saw a glimpse last week. Getting them both on the ground at stages is also a step we want to get towards down the track when Nick gets full match fitness. But we'll worry about ourselves a fair bit with that.
I was going to say, you would know historically the second game back is it's always the one that you generally have a little bit of a flat spot. But Nick was saying that because he's had 18 months, he's had that extra 6 months, he feels like he can build upwards. And obviously that's what you hope for. You prepare him at all in that mentally, that you know the second game back's always the one that.
Oh, I think everyone's different with the second game back. You know, we can broad brush that one. So look, he's trained all week. He's pulled up really well. We won't overdo it. We understand Etihad's a hard surface, and you know, Optus is hard as well. So we just got to manage some of our injury-prone players who do sometimes pull up a bit sore on the hard decks. He's one of them. Second game back, he's really clear about his focus points. So as long as he brings his effort and attitude, I think he'll be okay.
Have you noticed like added confidence in Natanui this week at training after just getting that first game done?
He's been confident in his body for a long period of time, and he's had a couple of minor hiccups over the course of pre-season that's caused so much hysteria. But internally, he's been really confident within his body. So I'm not surprised at all. You know, we saw the normal knick-knack when he played. So you know, he needs to learn some little tricks here and there to how to handle things. But for the most part, I think he's been pretty confident.
Just on 50%, just over 50% last week for him at game time. Is it the same this time, or are you going to build every week?
We'll look to build it. Obviously, he'll play more footy as time goes, but yeah, we'll work through that in the next few weeks. But you know, the next month's important that we get him through, and we won't cook him.
How hard is it? Sorry, just flowing off that one. How hard is that? Was that hard in the last quarter not to start him? Games on the line, you're on the roll, and you've got a point. And how hard is that as a coach to have the discipline to go, you know what, I've got to listen to the science?
Yeah, well, he couldn't have played if we didn't have that discipline. So we've got to be smart about it.
Mark Hutchings, has he come back this week?
He's in the mix. Well, obviously the team will be selected this afternoon, but yeah, look, he's hasn't done too much wrong. The balance of our side sort of pushed him out a little bit, but he's in the mix.
When you say the balance, what was it that you were looking for last week to start the season with that maybe Mark sort of, you know, didn't obviously provide that number one option there?
Yeah, well, I think what we're doing in the front half is probably squeezed out at 1 or 2 midfielders. You know, having a oversupply of mids doesn't mean you're going to get better in the midfield, so we want the quality there, and, you know, Mark's part of that plan. That you know, but if we're going to play a couple of young forwards, and we want to keep a pretty strong midfield as well. So he's part of the midfield group, and he'll no doubt get an opportunity.
As part of the defensive structure, do you look to maybe not leave a fullback or someone isolated in the 50? I mean, obviously Buddy's a rare breed, but this week do you try and get maybe an extra number back to try and assist?
Yeah, you do that. We tried to do that on the weekend. It probably didn't look like it, but you know, we tried everything last week, and he was too good. Other than just playing 2 on him, which is probably something on reflection we could have gone to. But you do give up a lot to do that. You know, we did try it for a couple of minutes, but yeah, look, those things happen week to week, and it hasn't happened to us too often. So we got to keep learning and growing with our back. Our back six are normally pretty good at working together and supporting each other, and unfortunately on the weekend we didn't get that done. So we've got some things to work on there, but we're not going to completely dismiss how we go about it.
What's separated Braden Ainsworth from the other younger draftees?
Yeah, well, he's got a massive tank, so he's got AFL. He's Andrew Gaff-like in terms of how he runs and carries himself. So that already gets him in front of a lot of the young midfielders that come into the comp, and he finds the football. So those two things combined, you got something to work with. So he'll play some footy this year. I'm not sure if he'll play this weekend, but he's hasn't put a foot wrong over pre-season.
Will you tell us, Simo, who's going out, or do we go to the airport and wait?
Just read about it this afternoon. It gets announced, so there won't be too many changes.